second referee, Mr. Patrick Alden Rojo. Introducing your starting lineups for the match. First, Scotland. Number 2, Ellen Franklin. Number 3, Alexis Drewsy. And number 4, your captain, Carly Murray. And this will continue on. Carly began her first stop for Scotland in 2012 and has been an integral part of the squad ever since. Congratulations again, Carly, for your 50th cap. Number 5, Rachel Maxson. And number 8, Emma Walden. Number 11, Sheldon Fraser. And of course, the starting number today, number 6, Laura Reddy. And your head coach for Scotland, Mr. Daniel Trailer. And now your starting lineup for Ireland. Number 3, your captain, Emily Brazel. Number 4, Virginia Halpin. Number 5, Sophie Nolan. Number 6, Catherine Murphy. Number 7, Carly Tomei. Number 8, Emma Brown. First starting number 15, Bertrand Norman. And your head coach of Team Ireland, Mr. Mark Galante. From Scotland to get us away. Let's go, go! And beginning shortly on court 1 is our women's match number 4 between Northern Ireland and England.
No.
Yeah, it was on the station. I was like, how do I know this thing? It's really hard.
Is that better for you?
I didn't know if you had it that high because you wanted the certain angle or something like that.
Just fine. You can also move it here if you want. So you're going to see the screen.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. I was wondering where you got. I was looking around and I was like, I can't see you. Ollie said he just wants me to not really follow the game, but
You
more
can follow
to
it a bit,
play.
but if you like, so Maria, their coach, is quite animated. Like she will like
All
call.
the curly hair there.
Yeah. She's quite like animated, like so she'll be like calling things and like directing people. So maybe zoom on her a little bit.
Yeah.
Same with their coaches. When they go to like timeouts and stuff like that, zoom in on them nicely. You know what to do. Yeah, you can follow the game a little bit as well, but don't like focus on it like the whole time. Like maybe if you know there's gonna be like a good celebration or something, like keep it on one side of the court and then you can zoom in a bit quicker.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll be fine.
Okay. I thought it was sweet.
Yeah, no, you like you can. But yeah,
Why is
it's,
it on?
because then it calls support noise. It's not a
Charlotte's doing such a good job.
Right, I'm going to go down the stairs.
Yes. I'll let you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Having to split as well. Yeah, my game's on.
Fuck's sake.
And I believe we are now back. Apologies for the quick issue. The good news is you've not missed any volleyball, as we're just a couple of minutes away from team introductions here at the National Volleyball Centre. as we get ready for England and Northern Ireland on the women's side. Over on court 2, they have started between Scotland and Ireland. Scotland currently leading set 1 9-5. You can join Jess Smith and Luke Wiltshire on the call for that one as we get ready. And Des, we're just talking about England and obviously the ability, obviously the game MVP yesterday, Molly Van Essen obviously got that experience as well, and her leadership is going to be really important to this group.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's currently playing in Leeds Gorse in this English Super League, 4th in setter efficiency. So having an experienced setter is probably one of the best positions to have experience. I mean, Harriet Philp-Edwards is no slouch as well, represented England for Nevza and is a strong setter currently in the warm-ups. So 2 differing options with probably different styles of setter. So it will be interesting to see who England opt for this game.
Yeah, and obviously you talked about that serve-receive unit for Northern Ireland and just a consistency of, again, another game together, a little bit more chemistry. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of prepare, as we seem to have a little bit of an extended warm-up here for some reason. We'll try and find out why. It's a little bit of a problem with the electronic score sheet, I believe, so our technical team just working on that on the side of the court. So both teams carrying on with the hitting. We'll have a quick talk through the entire rosters for both teams, so those of you with us know what to expect. We'll start with England. Their number 1, Isabel Brown. Number 2, Natasha Frost. Number 3, Lauren Howe. 5, Harriet Philp-Edwards. Number 6, Abby Listler. Number 7, Madeline Montero. Number 8, Daniela Chandu. Number 9, Catherine Tolley. Number 11, Saskia Freitas Schofel. Number 12, Alice Jagielska. Number 15, Jojo Cruz. And 16, Molly Van Essen. And Dennis, a lot of Super League experience, but also a lot of youth and kind of that next generation coming through.
Yeah, it's a good mix. I think, you know, it's clear that they might have sent the stronger squad to the Novotel Cup right now happening in Luxembourg, but you know, with that mix of experience and youth, I think the younger players can definitely learn a lot from this competition. It's been a long time since the English women have competed in an international tournament together. So coming together for this camp, maybe some links to be worked out, but I'm sure with that first game under their belt together yesterday, things will look to improve for this one.
And as for Northern Ireland, their squad, number 1, Grace Allen. Number 4, Megan McBurney. Number 5, Amy Oliver. Number 6, Alex Kincaid. Number 7, Olivia Cuthbert. Number 8, Shannon Linus. Number 9, Gemma Calvin. Number 10, Sarah Scott. 11, Jenna Clark. 12, Rebecca Parkhill. 13, Grace Patterson. 14, Tara Mooney. 15, Marianne Paul. And 16, Iona Mares. And Dennis, obviously, as you said, like a serve-receive unit, but kind of the leaders kind of gravitate but really the service line is where they're going to try and apply pressure on this England team, and particularly you said yesterday that it was Jenna Clark, the setter, and Calvin that impressed you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yesterday was all about serving battle between Scotland. Will be interesting to see if, you know, if England's serve reception unit can hold up and how well Northern Ireland defend, especially with the libero McBurney. It seems like the Northern Irish block consistently funnel all the balls to their favorite passer, the libero McBurney. She's been having quite a defensive display this tournament, always sitting in the right positions and getting the ball up, but can Northern Ireland figure out a way to beat the English block out of system will be the second part of this game, I think, after the serve reception battle.
Yeah, again, just an extended delay here for a bit of an issue with the electronic score sheet. We'll have a quick look over to our right and court number 2. It's currently Scotland 15, Ireland 7. And it looks like we're about ready pretty much for introductions. The other games today on the women's side, we'll get England, Scotland and Northern Ireland, Ireland tonight. Those games starting around 6 o'clock if all goes to schedule. 5:54 Northern Ireland, Ireland. 6 o'clock scheduled start for England and Scotland. And obviously you've got the men's games at 3:50/4 o'clock as well. As indeed it does appear like we are finally ready to get underway here in the National Volleyball Centre for England and Northern Ireland. Our officials for this one, Dos Santo Giordano and Siran Dominique, as they get their final preparations checked off, and we'll get both teams onto the baseline for the national anthem. And it looks like both teams are about ready, and we'll pause quickly for the national anthem. As both players will meet at the net, and we're finally about to get ready. Reminder of the earlier results. England beat Northern Ireland on the men's side 3-0, and Scotland did the same over on court 2 versus Ireland. So that will set up a England-Scotland final on the men's side here at Five Nations, and Northern Ireland will bat it out for the bronze medal. But both of those sides will face off this afternoon before that, so that'll be an interesting dynamic we'll get to later on.
Yeah, this one's important for England. If they win this one, they can put all the pressure off for the next game. Obviously, they still want to set a statement for the final to come tomorrow, but definitely interesting to see what kind of changes or dynamic they're going to go for.
As our match officials now onto court. As captain's just getting the score sheet signed off. Now it's back working, and we'll shortly meet the starters for Northern Ireland. So Northern Ireland are going to come out, led out by their captain, Amy Oliver. And also birthday, as we've just found out. There you go. What a time for Amy Oliver. National team game on your birthday. And she'll be joined by number 9, Gemma Clark, number 11, Number 9, Gemma Calvin. Number 11, Jenna Clark. We're definitely going to get those mixed up as we go. Number 14, Tara Mooney. Number 13, Grace Patterson. And their starting libero is Megan McBurney.
The exact same lineup they started with yesterday, I think, other than the setter who Jenna Clark continued the rest of the game, but now starting lineup for England.
And they're going to come out with number 1, Isabel Brown. Number 3, Lauren Howe. Number 9, Catherine Tolley. And number 12, Alice Jagielska. Number 15, Joe Cruz, and their setter and of captain and the game MVP from yesterday, Molly Van Essen. Starting libero for England is number 6, Abby Littler. So kind of as we expected for England as well. No early sign of rotation, but we'll see how deep both coaching staffs go into their bench. It's, again, an important game as Northern Ireland try and get back to 1-1 in the standings and have a chance for that gold medal game. Also believe we missed the other middle for Northern Ireland in that starting group. They are going to start number 5, Amy Oliver, as well. And with Northern Ireland will get us underway. And it'll be the setter, Jenna Clark.
Jagielska now playing as opposite for now. Not stepping into the pass just yet. We know she's well capable of that.
So Cruz straight off the hands of the block, and she'll get the opening point. And a big early swing for the Mallow Eagles player.
Yeah, Cruz is definitely one of the most dynamic tools on the English side right now. Fast set to the outside, gets the kill off the outside hand. And right away we start with an out-of-system play for Northern Ireland. Back set straight to Jagielska. Almost shut down. Looked like a shutdown from my side, but that one trickling onto the Northern Irish side.
Yeah, and a good confident swing early on again, moving to that opposite position. We know she can do it. We have seen it a little bit at both levels as the cross-court serve by Van Essen for the ace.
Yeah, straight away applying that service pressure. That's exactly what we saw last time. The problem that Northern Ireland had at the start of the game yesterday.
And that one, misconnection into the net, and that'll be England rotating liberos as well. So a couple of quick points for Madeline Montero. So we'll see how that substitution pattern works as Northern Ireland back to serve with Calvin. And they'll get the point. Not the cleanest, but a really good up there by Oliver.
Yeah, Van Essen maybe like to give her middle a little higher of a toss just so she can reach above the block faster. Here we go, another dime.
And a quick middle set. Both teams trying to go through there, and Catherine Tolley, one of the more experienced players in the Super League with Essex, getting the early kill.
Yeah, I remember she was up on the leaderboards last year in terms of offensive efficiency. Definitely one of the most efficient middles in the Super League, currently playing for Essex Rebels.
So Cruz back to serve. A little bit of a overpass. Jenna Clark couldn't quite get in a position to set it properly, and that meant the set wasn't efficient, and error by Northern Ireland, and they trail 5 points to 2 early on here at Five Nations.
Great serve, flattened across the net, but that's a dime.
Off-pace swing by Mooney, can't find the floor, but both sides recycling well on the defensive end. Mooney again, little touch. Jagielska into the block.
The exact same kind of swing cross-court from the right side, but that was great up by Cruz from area 6. Putting two hands up there, almost it's something you'd see in beach, that tomahawk up. And she's back to serve again.
as Cruz with another service error for England early on.
Amy Oliver now up to serve their captain. Great pass.
As again, England going middle, finding the connection with Tolley early on.
Yeah, easy kill by Tolley, and that's just what happens when you get a good pass.
As Shinos goes back from that middle position to the service line. She again finds the net, and England serving not quite on early on. That's the third service error
Yeah,
already.
Like to see them test Northern Ireland's passing before they ramp up the service aggression, to be honest. I mean, if they watched yesterday's game, they know Northern Ireland sometimes struggle with these flat float serves, but they put in a good serve on their own. Tara Mooney, the opposite, gets the ace. Now Tara Mooney back up to serve again. That serve seemed to drop just short of Isabel Brown. Targeting the front court outside. This time Cruz has passed it. Wadded up by McBurney, and now Grace Allen swings, but blocked by England. Transitioning well. Northern Ireland getting the offense running from the start. Grace Allen trying to roll through the block again, as she does so often, but that time not getting the lucky roll she's looking for.
So it's Jagielska back to serve. A little bit of an overpass, but well handled. And Cruz from the pipe into the net, but really smart awareness by Jenna Clark, realising she's not going to be able to set that properly, instead going for the quick tip. And Northern Ireland clawing their way back into this.
Serves right from the whistle.
Yeah, I think she might have caught the whistle on the other court as England go for the slide, but Isabel Brown can't find the floor. Cruz will recycle and she'll have to static hit from the free midline. So Northern Ireland well in system here. And off the hands, off the block. Isabel Brown saying she didn't touch it, but referee saying there was a little deflection on that, and that ball going wide. So Northern Ireland clawing their way back. And it's Allen going again down the line to serve. Cruz, Van Essen over on the second touch on the tip, and a swing, but not a good connection for Calvin. And she'll send it over the baseline.
Yeah, Calvin still trying to look for those fingertips, going for that high line swing. Almost beach-esque, but Northern Ireland need to sort out their serve reception right now. And that's a much better pass to make up for it.
And this time, much better connection. And making up for the mistake on the last point, straight back to the same player. No mistake about it.
Yep, exactly. It may not seem like as big of a serve reception battle as yesterday, perhaps, but these passes result in easy points, and that one results in the easiest possible point. An ace serve again from Northern Ireland. I think that might be their third ace this game.
Yeah, Grace Patterson, and too much movement for Abby Littler to handle. And she'll go straight back, but Van Essen having to come deep into the court. It's going to be a free ball for Northern Ireland. Chance to take the lead here. Set number one. Big swing by Calvin. But it's Jagielska to the floor to save the point. Cruz goes cross court. Cruz, not the cleanest contact, but enough just to fool Mooney on the pace, and she can't quite handle it.
Yeah, no blocker up. I think Mooney was bracing herself for a massive hit, but Cruz just managing to reach that, maybe a tiny bit out of her hitting window, but that was a huge rally to start us off.
As this time splitting the block, Calvin between Tolley and Van Essen at the net. Great placement to split that block, not quite forming in time.
Yeah, you love to see the assertiveness put up by the outsides right now. Haven't seen as many tools this game, but they won't complain when they're swinging that assertively.
Jagielska from the back row. Trying to go middle this time. Off the top of net, Cruz able to get there. Big swing and finds the gap. Lauren Howe from the pipe. No middle blocker goes up and just splits perfectly down the middle of the court. As both teams trying to find a way to seize momentum and control of this opening set. Van Essen, who served well early on. Little tip block will eventually come back on the England side. Cruz.
Great dig by McBurney, but another chance for them.
Jagielska tip, diving save. Northern Ireland try and go over, but not enough depth on it really. Jagielska's going to get the solo swing, but can't again find the floor. Lots of long rallies early on.
And again, here we go. As still, England getting another chance. Fast to the outside.
Cruz, big block. I think that was going out, but Van Essen played it, being unsure. Jagielska eventually finds the winner. And I think the longest rally of the tournament ends with an England point.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long that took. That felt like 30 seconds, but for those players, that probably felt like an entire minute.
I think it was close to a minute, if I'm being totally honest. So neither offense really clinical early on. Van Essen serving, and they're going to call a violation on the Northern Ireland back rows. They tried to set for Grace Allen from the pipe. Both teams really trying to find that pipe attack early on.
Yeah, I mean, having that pipe attack is so important now. For your setter's front court, she wants as many options available. Currently, she's backcourt, so she's got 3 front court options.
Cruz goes again, big swing. And this time just a little bit too much for McBurney to handle, but you can tell she's bringing some confidence to this Northern Ireland team. Her positioning in the back row has been on point early on.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe Northern Ireland are struggling right now with the pace of England's offense. Not something they saw yesterday against Scotland, and you know that was one of Northern Ireland's strengths, putting a well-formed block to funnel all the balls to McBurney. But with that fast pace Molly Van Essen is setting, that's going to be difficult for Northern Ireland to set up a strong block for their defense to handle. So far, working a little bit better for England. I'm not sure what the cause of the flat start at the start in the beginning of this set was, but if they can put a little more energy for the home crowd, maybe draw on their support, I'm sure they can pull away from this set right now.
As the captains pulled together, I think maybe just a little bit too long in the timeout.
I mean,
quick general warning.
Always want to take as long as you can to win a game, but a warning won't mean anything just yet.
McBurney, good job on the serve, and that's a monster swing.
Huge swing, not something we saw yesterday, and that time coming from Calvin, I believe, from the right side. It's great to see these players are finally letting themselves go a bit loose, swinging so hard.
Yeah, and that's the service rotation. Northern Ireland got stuck on a little bit, so they'll be glad to get out of that, as it was Calvin with the swing. Jagielska tries to respond, but goes over the baseline.
Yeah, looks like the timeout's working well for Northern Ireland right now. That's 2 points right away off the timeout, and it's only a 2-point gap now.
Cruz, well hand on services. She'll get it back, but it's a tough angle. Northern Ireland wanting that to be illegal, but does not matter, as Amy Oliver sends the ball crashing into Abby Littler, and Northern Ireland respond with 3 straight points at the timeout, bring it back within 1, and plenty for England to talk about.
Yeah, Jenna Clark giving Amy Oliver her birthday gift probably. That was a perfect set, straight for a Amy Oliver kill.
As conceding and coaching staff just drawing something up on the board, so maybe some sort of adjustment to the block and trying to get out a little bit to that. A lot of isolated one-on-one swings so far for Northern Ireland, and when they've had them, they are taking advantage.
Yeah, I mean, with Calvin on the service line, maybe it's time to adjust the service reception unit. We saw previously sometimes liberos can take up a lot of court to bolster their serve reception, but this time Joe Cruz get the serve reception. Northern Ireland get another out-of-system chance.
So 3 ball for England. See what we do with the attack. Trying to go middle, but Tolley misses it. Just didn't quite time it up properly, and she was chasing the ball. And we are tied at 14 apiece.
Yeah, a bit out of her hitting window there. Can only tip it down, but Northern Ireland taking their serve reception to full use right now.
Cruz tries to go long tip into the corner, but well recycled by Northern Ireland. Their defense has done a good job. England struggling for clean kills right now. There's another one as Tolley does finish on the slight overpass by McBurney. Oh, they're gonna, I think, say that the ball didn't cross the net. So actually it's Northern Ireland points. Tolley just a little bit too over-eager.
Yeah, a bit over-eager. I mean, from our angle, it's very, very difficult to tell.
Oh,
Referee's got the
impossible.
best angle. Yeah.
That's why we have a net cam. As a little bit miscommunication, aggressive attempt from the back row by Calvin. Catches net tape, unfortunately bounces and doesn't quite get the roll over. And we are tied 15 apiece.
Great ball in. Jenna Clark. Oh, excuse me, was a bit tight.
A little bit tight, but yeah, over the top and trying to rescue it. And right now, it kind of feels like neither team are just kind of synced up and in rhythm.
Yeah, it's almost like the crowd and so are we waiting for somebody to take charge of this game, either a player or, you know, maybe a group. But that swing this time, Mooney gets the clean swing down the line.
Has the patience just to kind of wait on it for it to come across the body a little bit more. We saw a couple of those swings early, a little bit maybe rushed, but that great patience and a great angle as well.
Yeah, one of the youngest players on court.
And that serve just creeping over the end line. And that will allow Isabel Brown back onto court in the middle position.
Yeah, Catherine Tolley to serve again. No libero on court. Janet Clark's got 3 options to use on the Northern Irish side.
Again, aggressive from the back row. Jagielska goes line. Well pulled up by McBurney, but Mooney this time can't quite connect.
That's frustrating. McBurney, as a libero, you dream of those situations. You pick up a ball from a one-on-one situation. But unfortunately, that time her teammates couldn't carry that point on for her. But Northern Ireland need to shake this off as we enter this late stage of the first set.
As a long out-of-system set, Isabel Brown able to find the seam. That ball was going to hit the line, and Northern Ireland lost a little bit of momentum and down 3 points, 19-16. They're going to talk it over.
Yeah, 19-16, not the biggest gap to climb, especially considering what happened yesterday. They had to face some serious serves from Scotland. This time dealt with the serve reception a bit better, maybe opting for that change in mindset where not everything has to be perfect. At least it has to be up and in the middle of the court, and gaining some points from that. But now that England are climbing in these transition situations, the gap is slowly starting to form. So let's see if anybody on the Northern Irish side can take chances into their own hands and really close that lead.
So England still in this 2 middle rotation. As Cruz rescues it, but I think the ball wide of the antenna, and point to Northern Ireland. Big one out of the timeout.
And Jenna Clark's front row now. Probably a height mismatch on the left side for Howe to perhaps abuse right now, but that won't matter with this kind of out-of-system play. Free ball for Northern Ireland.
Trying to go pipe attack. Cruz able to pick up the swing and a communication. Trying to get Jenna Clark. Grace Patterson tried to leave it for the setter, but kind of stepped back and into her own setter's way, and a little bit unfortunate for Northern Ireland. And England's lead is 3 as Jagielka goes cross court. And the block tip, and Van Essen and Brown this time, neither of them working out who wanted to play that second touch. Off the block and keep it alive, so Grace Allen forcing depth on the serve. Little slide attack for Brown. Again, McBurney in the right place. She's had a brilliant first set. 3-ball England.
Great containing block.
And another 3-ball Cruz. Van
Oh,
Esten! Great read. Had plenty of options, but realised there was no middle on her, and just able to bump it over.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
And we've seen her do that in the Mari Women's Super League for Leeds, having a very strong season. Our Leeds Gorsers. The ace now comes a rare error by McBurney on the serve receive.
Yeah, they've been managing the serve reception well so far, but those errors are very loud for Northern Ireland. Gap is now 4 points, but crucially only 3 away for England to take this set.
And Northern Ireland, unfortunately, just unraveling here a little bit late in the set. As Calvin into the net.
Great ball in again.
And this time through the block, and Gemma Calvin again is that focal point of the Northern Irish offense.
Yeah, Northern Ireland are a lot more structured compared to yesterday, and that all came from a serve reception from McBurney again. They've definitely rebounded well from yesterday's performance, but that time Cruz firing it home into area 6.
Yeah, it was Grace Allen on the back that got a hand to it, but not enough, and that'll bring up 5 set points for England. Not being their most convincing volleyball, but have a chance to close out the set as Calvin goes long, and that will indeed be the set. 25-19. It was 14-13, and England pull away late.
Yeah, I think it was a service run in the middle. You know, there were a couple well-called timeouts from both coaches, namely from Northern Ireland during that 14-10 gap. They managed to call a timeout, immediately close the gap to around 14 all. But England managing to pull through, I think, crucially in those transition situations, that's where they set themselves apart from Northern Ireland. You know, Northern Ireland, when they get that first serve reception right, it seems like they know exactly what to do on offense. But when England managed to get a nice defense on the other side, they seem a lot more organized in that situation and are able to kill the ball at a much higher efficiency than the Northern Irish team.
And the errors kind of crept in late in that set for Northern Ireland. Just one error in the first 22 points, but the preceding end of the set from midway through, another 5 errors, and a lot of them coming at that back end, really causing some issues. But England able to offense just not quite clicking, but they've been able to spread the scoring out a little bit. 4 points for Cruz, 4 for Jagielska, 3 for Tolley. So they've been able to just diversify a little bit, but right now you can tell the rhythm and the timing isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, not exactly. I mean, you can kind of almost notice that mostly for the middles. They ran maybe 2 or 3 slides just off the top of my head, but most of them were able to be picked up and maybe slightly set out of the middles hitting window. I think one of the key things they can build on is that middle usage. Their passes and serve reception are actually doing pretty well, so using that fast middle option is definitely one of the highest efficient weapon they can use, and maybe that will bridge that gap a bit further for the English team.
As both teams getting instructions from their coaching staffs over on court 2. Does look like Scotland about to take a 2-0 lead over Ireland, as Northern Ireland, the first team, ready out of their huddle. And they look like they'll stay with the same 7. And we'll see if England opt for the same as well.
Yep, just their backs against the walls now. Well, it's 1-0, so if they can win this set, it'll be an even game, and they can try and even their record out as well for a chance to play in the gold medal match. But at the moment, England want to put a full stop on this run by the Northern Irish team.
It looks like one change for England. Looks like Freda Schofel will make an appearance.
I think they've made a change in setter as well. Philp Edwards now coming in.
Indeed, they have. So setter change, a bit of a break for Van Essen. And looks like Jagielska is not on court either for England. We'll try and bring out full group as Philip Edwards. Philip Edwards goes straight into net. She served really well for Mallory, and at the back end of the season, part of that team that made the Final Four, won that bronze medal in a reverse sweep. And obviously an under-18 national champion as well. As she sets the middle for Schofel. Big swing, but brought back by Ireland, and off the bench, another change. Natasha Frost, her first swing, first killer. Maybe the change is what England needed on the offensive end.
Yeah, so interesting to see how a setter can change the whole style of a team. I mean, first opting for the middle straight off the bat is a big play for a young setter like Philip Edwards. Definitely not hesitating.
As McBurney made the first contact, and her teammates just weren't alive to the reaction. And it'll be Cruz back to serve. She'll go cross court, out of system play.
Philip Edwards to run the offense again to the right side. And
Double, okay, a little bit of a lift on the block. Wasn't most convincing, but second quick point for Frost off the bench.
Yeah, Philip Edwards utilizing all her options really well right now.
Frost made her senior debut yesterday, playing a volleyball for Cambridge ARU, and another one of those NEVSA under-19 athletes in this squad. As McBurney again the right position, and Cruz from the pipe goes rolling. McBurney, big pancake, but couldn't quite get enough height on it for her teammates to rescue it. But again, the Northern Ireland libero making it so difficult for the English attack.
Yeah, she's covering a lot of court right now, but she's going to need a bit of help from her teammates to connect to her defensive digs. Scores 4-1, and that's not the start you want for Northern Ireland. And more out-of-system plays results in an error for them. And this is kind of looking similar to what we saw yesterday in the Scottish game. not able to string together enough passes together on serve reception and leading to a lot of difficult plays and errors as a result.
Cruz onto the 3-meter line. Well picked up by Calvin. Freda Schofel gonna push it over. And Northern Ireland able to fully set up. And there's the kill by Mooney.
There it is. That's what we want to see from the Northern Irish side. I mean, when they get that first ball much higher in a better position for their setter, they're much more structured, and that's what they'll be looking to do for the rest of this game.
Cruz. Back set by Phil Edwards again, trying to find the hot hand, but Calvin gonna push it wide from the back, and Northern Ireland kind of continuing from that end of set one, unfortunately for them. So Freda Schofel, the middle on her first serve, and they're going to call a double touch. And I think this might be a Northern Ireland timeout. Not quite yet.
Yeah, I think coach is
definitely considering it.
Yeah, considering it. I mean, you're shading so far into area 6 and 5, but another out of system play. Bit mishandled by England here, but good swing off it.
Going to be tight, and a block touch by Tolley, but not able to control it. And a much needed point for Northern Ireland as they just try and regroup a little bit from a wobble.
Yeah, Grace Allen always goes for those high hands. She may look undersized compared to the rest of the English team, but she's more than capable and aware of where to hit the ball.
As Phil Edwards set that was too much for Howe to chase down, coming from the back corner.
What a serve.
Low and flat. And just off speed by Howe. Just enough for Calvin, who was back on her heels just a little bit, not able to get there. But all credit to the pass on the service, on the swing, because that was really what set it up for England on the offensive end.
Yep, always the pass, and Northern Ireland need to clean up their serve reception right now.
And I think we had a little bit of an early...
I think there might be a
little error on the score sheet that they're correcting. I've not got the same score. Indeed, it is 8-4.
Yeah, play resumes. That serve was out, so let's see if she can keep this one in.
Make the adjustment. Indeed, she does. As again, the pipe attack. Northern Ireland running a lot through Calvin, and they'll get the free ball. Early take, and really awkward for Mooney to get to. She never looked comfortable to really attack that ball.
Yeah, I mean, that set, a bit difficult coming out of the front court, but right-handed opposite sets inside. It's going to be a difficult one to deal with.
As the serve might have been creeping wide. It was right on the line, so well handled by Allen. Free ball. Again, I think that was going to paint the line. Mooney this time well set up and into the block for the kill. Great awareness by Mooney. She looks so much more confident when she's got that time to set herself up to attack the ball.
Yeah, exactly. As a youngster, that's exactly what you want to see. Born in 2005, one of the youngest players on this Northern Ireland team. They've got a mix of youth and experience, but it's going to be important to build the confidence of these younger players. That's having an error from England. First one I think we've seen so far hitting into the net.
As Howe tried to get it over from the back. As Mooney low, overpass, so good chance for Northern Ireland. They go off the setter dump, but can't get the kill. Tight at the net, and Tolly will win the battle with Patterson.
Yeah, messy play there. I mean, setter was out, so you can argue it's the libero's job for that second ball, but chasing all the way from area 5 to basically area 2, that's going to be a difficult one for the libero to make.
And block touch recycled onto the Northern Ireland side, so Mooney from the back line and squeezing it through the block. Natasha Frost, who's done a really good job in set number 2. She's been the focal point of this England attack and has been able to swing from both the front and the back. As
what a
Tolly
block.
with the block.
Here we go, England with a reward.
And they're going to call a double touch on the set by Phil Edwards.
Still a great defensive dig though, 1-on-1. Tara Mooney just sits on the line and dug that one up, but yeah, I think correct call by the referee. That was a double. Ball had a bit too much spin on it and looked like an awkward contact from here. Great dig again from area 6. England are picking up these balls very well from area 6, and that one results in a tool off the block from Cruz. Always sitting so deep in area 6. Surprised Northern Ireland haven't maybe tried varying their swings, maybe tipping into that donut in the front court.
As I think England have got confused with what rotation they are on. And it is indeed the rotation they thought they were on, so Freda Schofel into the front, and it'll be her Rebels teammate Catherine Tolley to serve.
Oh, what a serve right in between the two players.
As they try and go deep, Tolley with a rescue. Cruz off the block, off the shoulder. And they're going to call double touch. Didn't quite see it from our angle up here on the balcony behind the play. A little bit unfortunate.
Great pass again, McBurney. That one rolled through the block.
I think it's one of those, it almost, the way it kind of clipped the net, miss off the hand, just timed off the rhythm of the block, and yeah, no press by Freda Schofel and Cruz. So ball back onto the England side as Cruz again seeing a lot of the ball in serve receive.
What a dig, back and forth. Perfect passes on defense, and that time, that's a huge dump by Phil Edwards.
And the confidence we saw.
That's ice cold from the young setter. Back and forth, perfect passes, and she thinks, why not? Why not get an easy kill for herself as well?
As another tip at the net.
Ooh, sets a bit wide, but managed to keep it in play.
And swing goes over the baseline. As Northern Ireland trying to keep the bench, trying to keep their energy up for their team. Trailing 15-8 in set number 2. One set down, as well as Phil Edwards again into net on serve. Second service error for her.
And Jenna Clark at the service line, the setter. Haven't seen many service runs from either team. Another dime from England results in an easy kill down the middle.
It's such a patient move. Freda Schofel kind of saw the set wasn't quite where she was anticipating it and just adjusted and just changed the angle enough to get the tip over the block. And that little touch just killed the ball enough as Cruz. Calvin waits on it, squeezes it through, well recycled, and Cruz and Phil Edwards miscommunication. And a sub for Northern Ireland, their first of the day in. Wearing number 10 is Sarah Scott, and she'll replace Grace Allen, who has been a little quiet in set number 2.
Yeah, maybe a changing an outside also gives you a new weapon in serve reception, but
Long set over to Lauren Howe, and she had a really good angle to attack and finds the floor on the cross court.
yeah, both of the English outsides have been very effective in this set, both in serve reception but also in offense. But right away, England targeting the substitute, and it's worked out for them.
As Cruz beats McBurney, who's going to her left trying to rescue us. England just starting to be dominant. Feels like the hitters have got a little bit more confident as miss hit on the serve by Freda Schofield sends it wide, and a cheap point again to the visitors from Northern Ireland as a double sub coming in. So it was meant to be Grace Patterson, but she'll sub off for their other middle, Iona Mares. Another youngster in this Northern Irish team. As Northern Ireland just where they need to kind of claw in, make a couple of service errors, and we will have a timeout for Northern Ireland, with the side trailing 19 points to 11, and just kind of feels like that early momentum they had has gone. You can see here a lot of discussions on the England bench still.
Yeah,
Kind of split off with the two outsides, really getting a separate conversation. Looks like they're talking about momentum and that timing of that lift to go up and really be aggressive and attack the swing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe something they're trying to build on for the rest of this tournament is their opportunity to use the pipe attack. Don't think we've seen as much this set, but you know, it's all about, there's a difference between jumping front court and back court. Back court's a bit more of a broad jump where you kind of carry that momentum through your swing, flying out of the back row.
So we'll see if the words of Matus Wininski and Carl Gale can just fire a little bit of life into this Northern Ireland team. Kind of struggling to find the attacking rhythm right now that we saw in set 1, especially Gemma Calvin seems to have gone quiet as an immediate miscommunication on the serve, and a ace for Natasha Frost.
Right away, Natasha Frost clearly identifying there's a new player on court, number 10 on the Northern Irish side, Scott, serving right in between the seams, but just as we commend her, she serves that one into the net.
As Mooney now to serve, tries to go down to position 1, but great quick ball to Tolley, and that's where England's real advantage has been in this game so far, is middle attacks. As another change for Northern Ireland, looks like it's going to be a double change, so into the game at the opposite position when 6, Alex Kincaid, and number 7, the outside Olivia Cuthbert as well, will both get their first action.
Yeah, it's so cool to see that Philip Edwards and, you know, on the English side, Dan Sampson, the moment they both came in today, they've been utilizing the middle a lot more. Not sure if it's a, you know, different style of coaching in terms of different eras, but it's definitely been working so far.
Joust at the net for a second time. Northern Ireland going to try and get there, but unfortunately Cuthbert couldn't quite get to it enough to control it. England now with a double-digit lead. It's a 22-12. Make that 23-12.
Northern Ireland really starting to rotate all their players now. Another substitution. I think it's a setter change.
Indeed it is, with Murian Paul getting some action. Another 2006 born on this Northern Irish team. So the 18-year-old having an opportunity end of this set. We'll see if she gets an opportunity.
Ooh.
We won't there because it's an overpass and a finish by Tolley.
Very clean throw down by Tolley there. As a middle, that's one of the key skills you're going to work on. Most of the overpasses are going to be your ball, and that time she identifies the gap immediately, sends it right where the setter is in front court.
So set points to England, and they'll convert the first time of asking, as the swing from Sarah Scott, I think her first of the game, just not timed up and into the net. And a convincing set number 2 for England, 25-12 in the end. And they are one set away from advancing to play Scotland. And the way it's looking over on court number 2, most likely again, we'll have the same as we see on the men's side. England, Scotland into the gold medal game. Northern Ireland, Ireland into the bronze. And obviously all those sides face off later on this afternoon here at the National Volleyball Centre in Kettering.
Yeah, 25-12. I'd say a fair margin considering how well England performed in that situation. You know, mostly winning in transition, winning that serve and pass battle. Northern Ireland seem to have lost their focus or their groove compared to the last set in serve reception. That's been a big, big problem that they weren't able to adjust to in this game.
Yeah, and it just feels like they're so reliant a little on Gemma Calvin to create offense, and when she's a little bit quieter in certain rotations, they don't quite know where to go to find that attacking impetus.
Yeah, I mean, last set we saw a lot more sets going to Tara Mooney. Gemma Calvin was also able to find some success on the outside, and this set with those passes going so far off the 3-meter line, it's just so difficult for Jenna Clark to deliver those balls that she's more than capable of presented in a better situation.
Indeed, and great to see some of you joining us from around the world, including from Turkey here for Five Nations Volleyball. Reminder, this is day 2 of 3. The gold and bronze medal games will be tomorrow. It's a little bit of a later start, 10:30 and 12:30, the scheduled start times for the 2 finals. And the games at 4 and 6 o'clock here on court 1 this afternoon, as we have that big old tradition England-Scotland rivalry coming. And the way Scotland are playing, we've not been able to see much of it, obviously focused on our game here on court number 1, but Scotland have been dominant over Ireland. And they are just brought up match point now, leading 24-14 in set number 3. As both teams just getting final instructions.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what England do here. They've opted for most of their starters to play. Obviously, they had a couple of rotations last set, but will they want to keep all of their players the same or try and mix things up,
Looks
establish
like
new
we'll see
connections?
some changes as one of the lead scores youngsters, Daniela Shandu, will get her first action of the day. Alice Jagielska back in as well. As very inexperienced team. They're just trying to work out who the captain is.
I mean, with that many youngsters, I guess there isn't.
I think it's 12. I think they've given it to Alice Jagielska, but we will see. So England starting set number 3 with Howe, Phil Edwards, Frost, Tolley, Jagielska and Shandu. And
Not
again,
exactly
the
sure.
libero rotation. As for Northern Ireland, it is going to be a similar group that started set 1 and set 2. So Grace Allen back into the game, and she'll be joined by Calvin, Clark, Patterson, Oliver, and Mooney, and of course McBurney, the libero.
I'm not exactly sure if I'm seeing this correctly, but it seems like by the way England are standing, they accidentally put Jagielska in the middle. Maybe it's not an accident, I could be wrong, but Shandu is listed as a middle blocker. No, I'm not sure whether Jagielska is being told by the referee that they cannot change this lineup already as it's already been submitted. Currently as it stands,
Well, put it this way, we
yeah.
now know that Jagielska's captain, because she's the one talking to the referees, and she's just feeding something back to...
yeah, I think they're gonna. Are they putting an immediate substitution? I'm not
We've got
exactly
7
sure.
on course. I've got no idea
Yeah.
what's going on. I'm not going to say we need a yellow card, but this is probably one for delay of game if I've ever seen one.
Looks like how. Oh, excuse me. I think they accidentally put number 3. How
So
in middle? How was put in middle accidentally in this rotation? So they're gonna substitute back on Fred Shuffle. Another
and
substitution
Cruz
as well.
for
Cruz
Polly.
for
So
So
everything we said a minute ago,
Yeah.
please ignore. Philip Edwards,
I mean-
Jandu, Jagielska, Cruz, Littler, and Frost.
Yeah.
It's going to start.
yeah, complete mistake on the rotation sheet.
And
Unfortunately, hopefully this won't come back to bite them because they almost can't substitute them back in.
what you can do is Shandu off the bench, give her a middle look, and she'll find that opening kill. As Phil Edwards to serve, getting the instructions from her former head coach at Boswell's, Darren Lewis. She'll go cross court, 1-to-1, off the shoulder. Phil Edwards will set for Jagielska, and there's a gaping big hole in the middle of the defense, and Jagielska sees it and makes no mistake.
Yeah, not sure if I didn't notice it last set, but Harry Phil Edwards has a lot of tape on her fingers. I'm not sure if that's a single injury or multiple,
As
but
Bull finds the baseline for the ace. It's a habit she's got used to, playing with tape from an old injury, and just stuck with the tape more than anything else. So
I was going to say it hasn't seemed to affect her that much, so.
as that's time from ace on the baseline to a little bit too much on it, and her 3rd service error of the day, as believe that is Gemma Calvin back to serve. Indeed it is. A little bit of an overpass. Phil Edwards can't quite play it properly off the net. And a second quick point for Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Calvin back to serve again. And another one for Gemma Calvin. She's starting to get a rhythm on the service line. It's 3-3, a lot better of a start than last one.
Jagielska, Phil Edwards going to back set for her. Kind of a split block, and they're going to call
Net touch. I
net
think.
touch on the block. So Jagielska, side out Polonian, obviously beach player as well for England. Good success this year at Nevsas. Cruz goes into the block, will recycle, and Phil Edwards played in everyone left it. It was going to be an impossible ball for Montero to get to with her positioning on the court. Again, just that little bit of inexperience from this England lineup. A lot of players playing together for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of lapses of focus right now, but it'll be up to somebody experienced to step on the gas and really set the standard for the team.
As Cruz goes along with the game finished on court number 2. All eyes have turned to this game as Cruz goes over, but well read from the middle position for Ireland. Fight over, and Northern Ireland just starting to get some momentum, and that early sub pattern maybe just throwing England off, and they trail 6 points to 4 here in set 3.
Yeah, a bit of an up and down start for England, I think. Not sure what's causing the lapses of focus at times, but you know, as a player, sometimes it does put a little bit of confusion in your brain when you get put into the game, notice the lineups are all messed up, and then having to refocus your judgment, almost, you know, taking your focus off your job, which is just to play the game however you're lined up. But now that they've got the rotation adjusted, there's no real excuse for them, so they've got to find a way to pull themselves out of this situation.
As tight set, and I think played it just a little bit too early as they tried to take advantage of Phil Edwards at the net.
Yeah,
a little bit too eager, unfortunately.
It's a great play by Phil Edwards, though, going up with one hand and still being able to reach the ball while it's on your side. That's a great set from Phil Edwards, even though it wasn't to a knee hitter.
As Natasha Frost gets crossed up, trying to play the ball off the block touch. And these changes for England, unfortunately, haven't quite worked. Short serve, well picked up. Again, tight set, and Freda Schofel with the finish, but hits the net on the follow through.
Oh,
and it'll be a point to Northern Ireland.
That's unfortunate for the English team. That was an amazing set by Harriet Philip Edwards.
As Northern Ireland going to have to give up a free ball. Jagielska, Phil Edwards back set, isolated, great option, and Natasha Frost finishes.
Yeah, great decision. I don't think we've seen Natasha Frost much this set yet, but she's definitely a force to be reckoned with on the right side. Represented England at Nevza Under-19s in 2024. Received her first cap yesterday.
Set a dump and splits the back line. Montero was trying to get there, but just a little bit.
Yeah, Jenna Clark. I think she tried that a couple times last game, but that one worked to a charm.
As Jagielska misplays the serve, and Northern Ireland have a 4-point lead, and
yeah,
a lot of pressure on England right now just to figure this out, and just missing that leader on court.
Yeah, things are building up for Northern Ireland right now. Jagielska having to switch to outside as an opposite is not as easy as people think.
As that is easy for Cruz. Go up, accelerate through the ball, go down the line, and that's a big swing.
Yeah, it looks like she took up exactly what Coach Maria was talking about during that previous timeout last set.
As Calvin has to wait on it. Cruz able to make the defensive play. Jagielska into the block, recycled. She'll get another go. Doesn't quite know what to do with it. And a big swing. I think Phil Edwards got the touch on the block from the setter. And unfortunately for Patterson, she gets caught in 2 minds and ends up going cross court and makes the error. Cruz, another good defensive play. She'll go down the pipe. Good cover on the back end. McBurney's been excellent as the Northern Ireland libero, but she is not getting to that by Alice Jagielska.
No way is anybody picking that ball up with no blocker up. She hammers it down.
So Cruz goes down the line. Mooney waits on it again. Block touch England and free ball for Northern Ireland. Big chance to convert and get into a 2-point lead. Philp Edwards and Cruz run each other down. Keep the ball alive though.
Fast tempo.
And
what a pickup.
Cruz again. Defensive play. Jagielska. Another huge rally.
What a take, McBurney. England get another shot. Overpass though.
Overpass finished by Patterson. It's huge. And Northern Ireland have won a couple of big points. And Megan McBurney
oh, what a dig by Harriet Philp Edwards.
setters can play defense too, as the misconnection on the middle attempt. Clark was trying to find Oliver but couldn't quite get there. And it will be Freyta Schofield to serve. Again, right at McBurney. He's been so steady. Cruz, another big dig. Jagielska into the block and not quite recycled legally by England. The lift's going to get called.
Great ball in by Jagielska.
And this time able to play it off the hands of the block. Feels like Northern Ireland just haven't had success when they've got 2 over to that ball. Haven't quite managed to squeeze and time it enough to really put pressure on the England hitters. As Philp Edwards goes cross court again on that serve. Calvin waits for it. Big block but recycled. And a miss hit by Mooney.
Yeah, Mooney not in the same rhythm that they were in the first.
And again, I think Mooney's one of those players that really, once she's at her time and tempo, it's Deshandu on the overpass kill. Once Mooney's at her timing and tempo, she's great, but those off moments is where she really struggles in the game. But obviously a lot of development opportunities for her as she continues to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I think volleyball is definitely one of those sports where experience can mean a lot to a player.
As Philp Edwards, big ace on the cross court.
Yeah, and just as we're speaking about experience, Philp Edwards is actually one of the most experienced youngsters in this team. A lot of experience in the pathway, playing for Boswell and now Mallory Eagles as setter. That experience, especially for a young setter, it just means the world.
Yeah. This was a set England trailed, I believe it was 10 points to 6.
Yep. Now they've got a 2-point lead.
And they managed to flip it round, and with a game against Scotland lurking is kind of the moment you want to really just get this game to bed. Don't want to get to a 4th set for a second time in a row. And then you can really focus on what would be 2 games with Scotland.
Yeah, these multi-game days are really draining for a player, not just physically, but probably more importantly mentally. You're so focused during the entire game. Kind of just want to keep these games as short and simple as you can and try and power through to the next one.
Northern Ireland respond well out of the timeout. And that will send Calvin back to serve. Definitely been the focal point of this Northern Irish attack. And also has caused some problems for England on serve receive. There, Montero just about finds Shandhu. And don't think there was a touch there. England wanted a touch. Northern Ireland were adamant there was no touch. And Jagielska getting called over to have that conversation. And I think now the Northern Irish captain is going to have the similar talking to. That's Amy Oliver. And they're going to stick with the decision of Northern Ireland points. So we are tied at 14 apiece.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure what Amy Oliver was called for. I mean, I'm not sure if referees asking if there was a touch to the players would work, but
and there's the
doesn't matter.
And Northern Ireland back into the lead. 3 straight points out of the timeout. Reminder, England burned the early timeout, so they've only got 1 left.
Yeah. In 15-14, it's still very much in reach for England. Just need to get this pass, and that's a perfect one to start us off.
And that goes along. And this got to be thinking about the timeout, England. But it's a huge response from Northern Ireland. And it's a big amount of service pressure Gemma Calvin's putting on. Montero to handle it, but this time the roll into the net, and indeed that is going to be the timeout for England. 5 straight points from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, 17-14, 3 points. Gap starting to form, especially in this later stage of this set. It's going to be difficult if England let this gap continue to grow. I mean, that set just now maybe dying a bit inside. Tasha Frost unable to utilize many options, not given much choice there, but Northern Ireland, this is more close to the Northern Ireland we saw in the first set where their serve reception is a lot better. Their offense becomes so much more structured, and when any offense is structured in volleyball, it's always difficult to stop. Great ball in.
Into the block, but it'll be slightly over. Don't think she touched the net. No, Grace Allen stayed on the right side, avoided the net touch. Philip Edwards kind of, I think, wasn't sure if that was going to go over or not, and she got crossed up, and Northern Ireland suddenly 4 points to the good. As Philip Edwards plays it with the foot. Cruz. 3 ball effectively for Ireland. Mooney waits on it. Shandhu plays it. Philip Edwards is in the back court, so there's a lot of for her. Jagielska's going to put it up. She'll get it back. Goes off speed and finds the floor.
Yeah, that's a great rally. But you can start to see that England, maybe the story of this game has been England weren't as constructed in transition. You see players starting to take on other people's jobs. Shandhu that time taking the second ball from Philip Edwards, but worked out in the end. And as we speak about structure in offense, Molly Van Essen comes in as setter for Harriet Philip Edwards. Maybe bringing that experience to settle the young players down. There.
That's a huge swing, and that's what we're saying. When she's in her own timing, she is so elite at what she does.
Yeah, I mean, Tara Mooney with that huge reach. She's going to have a big advantage on the right side. Another bit of a mishandled pass.
Cruz goes cross court. Northern Ireland defense scrambling well, keeps themselves alive. Cruz
There it
again.
is.
Big
Fast tempo.
cross court swing and too much for Amy Oliver.
Yeah, fast tempo from Molly Van Essen straight to Cruz. Cruz has really been building on that momentum from her swing. You can see she's putting that entire body through, swing through her hips and onto the floor. Left-handed.
Hey, Calvin's adaptability and going to get called for a double touch. And Northern Ireland move into the 20s with a solid lead.
Yeah, it's
20
looking
to 16. Can they force set number 4 for the second time? A lot of support for this Northern Irish team right now. That's a really tough serving angle from Mooney. But a big cross-court swing by Natasha Frost.
Yeah, we'd like to see Natasha Frost be more involved in the offense right now. Currently leaning on Cruz whenever she's front court, and now that Natasha Frost is back court, Molly Van Essen, bit of a taller setter, might be able to utilize some tips as well. What a free ball. I mean, I don't think any player ever means that, but she'll definitely be claiming she did.
And it's, you can see you got it perfectly, the coach giving a little bow for it. Hey, sometimes creativity and doing the unexpected has the best outcome, and Northern Ireland 4 points away from the set. Cruz going to get it back from Van Essen.
What a take.
Over by Freda Schopel, and she immediately grabs her hand to her mouth. She knows that's an error. Too over eager again. And no arguments there. She immediately knew, and Northern Ireland get a freebie.
Sometimes you see players in those situations just pretend nothing happened, celebrate as hard as they can and forget about it, but
yeah,
she's got an honest heart.
Oh, Jagielska down the middle. That was unconventional. Great movement by Jagielska to get round it, and that caught Patterson off guard a little bit. The ball cannoning off her left arm.
Yeah, and now the whole National Volleyball Center is focused on this game. It's quite intense, honestly.
Hey, I don't think I'd mind a set 4.
Yeah, it looks like we're going into a set 4, and Northern Ireland again earning that one.
Cruz. Great serve receive, and the left-handed finish by Gemma Calvin. Again, Northern Ireland not going with conventional, but they're going with effectiveness.
Yeah, Gemma Calvin, definitely the one to lean on front court, especially when Mooney's back court. Clark clearly making her intentions known to the English block, but England might want to make an adjustment.
Jagielska finds Calvin. Setter push. Both setters going at it. Northern Ireland going to scramble, keep it alive, and finished off by Van Essen. That is going to cause, again, England have got a lot of talkings to.
Yeah, I think I understand the position that Van Essen's coming from, because from that angle, it seems impossible for Tara Mooney to return the ball within the antenna.
Well, the ball corner almost got caught on the middle of the top of the net, which kind of meant it had to be, because it never really crossed. It was one of those that was probably landing right on the net tape, the way both players went up for it. So
I mean, I believe the common rule referees adopt in that situation, if the ball comes over the antenna, usually it's called play on. But
as Mooney gets the backcourt kill, and Northern Ireland have 5 set points.
Yeah, here we go. Northern Ireland with probably the biggest lead they've ever had in this competition right now. 19-24, they get their chance for their first set in this game.
Jagielska to keep it alive, splits the block.
Here we go, Jagielska, young but experienced.
And Jagielska, part of the team with a crazy comeback. That was King and Queen of the Court in London in September. They reeled off something like 9 straight points to win an advance on the buzzer. As Van Essen to serve. Gonna not quite get the ace. That's a kick save by Calvin. Can Northern Ireland win it on this point?
Absolutely bonkers if they do, but
No.
that is such a shame.
But we need to highlight that anyway, because that was ridiculous by Gemma Calvin. Another way to keep it alive.
So we're
But
not sure.
Northern Ireland still in complete control.
Yeah.
Perfect pass. Calvin into the net. And 5 has become 2. And Northern Ireland are going to talk it over.
Yeah, timeout called. Very big timeout for Northern Ireland. 1 more point and they take this set, but 1 more point for England would mean they're getting so close to deuce territory, and anything can happen when the tiebreakers start rolling in.
Indeed. And the Northern Ireland using that second timeout. All you need to do is side out once.
Yep.
And that's no doubt what the message will be. It'll be interesting to see Van Essen serving. You assume they try and avoid McBurney here.
Yep, definitely. I mean, the common strategy is to target the front court outside, especially in this case, it will be number 9, Gemma Calvin, the powerhouse right now. Take her out of position, hopefully force an out-of-system play.
Yeah, you've got the opposite setter in 1, and there's
There it
the
is.
ace. Calvin moving to her right.
There it is. I mean, it's a clear strategy. It's worked for everybody. I mean, it's the cliche in volleyball. Serve the front court outside and let the rest take care of itself.
So 1 final set point for Northern Ireland, at least at this opportunity. Van Essen, Calvin, going to get it back. Cruz in position. England have a chance to tie it up. Jagielska goes roll. McBurney in position as ever. Can feel the tension almost in the arena. That's going to be tough. Northern Ireland in control. Cruz.
What a dig.
Big dig. Van Essen right side of net to Shandu with the push. That was close. Long rally. And it goes over the back line. And England 5 straight set points.
Hey, they've got the crowd on their side. This is an English crowd, but Northern Ireland, it's just so unfortunate that they can't get out of this rotation. Tara Mooney having to hit from an area she's not used to, but here we go, another chance.
Can they get Van Essen off the serve? No, they can't. England match point.
England match point. Match points are a lot heavier than set points, I'll tell you that.
As can England close it out with 7 straight points? Going to be tough from there. Jagielska off the hands.
Here we go, Tara Mooney.
Cross court, Littler in position. Jagielska swing for the match.
What a dig.
Ridiculous dig again. And we still go on. Cruz from the back. Roll shot. Great one hand by Amy Oliver. Northern Ireland recycle. And into the net.
That's so difficult. Such a long rally ending in a point like that. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but there's no time. There's no time to dwell on these errors. It's 25 all. They've climbed their way back into this game. They can't let it go to waste now.
25 all. Reminder for those of you new, first to win by 2 clear points. That is number 1 for England.
And match point again, 26-25, and it's Jagielska to serve.
Short serve, well got to, but Northern Ireland can't get their second touch, and England pull back from 5 set points down to win it 27-25. Heartbreak for Northern Ireland. They did so much good in set 1 and 3, but just couldn't close it out.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreak. I mean, the pass might have been a bit too low and wrong-footed the setter, but all credit to England there, fighting back, down by what? I believe 2024, 1924?
Yes, it was 5 set points, so
5 set points.
we'll double
Let's
check
have a
that
look.
on our 1924 it was, yeah.
1924, that is huge for England. I mean, you can argue they might not have wanted to have that gap in the first place, but you have to just respect that. They managed to respond in possibly the biggest way possible, winning this game 27-25.
Indeed, and obviously that sets up the final and the bronze medal match as well. So we will get England, Scotland in the gold medal match and Northern Ireland, Ireland in the bronze medal match. But before tomorrow, we get to see those two fixtures tonight, 5:50 and 6 o'clock respectively for that. But we need to talk about Northern Ireland. Set 2, very disappointed probably from their standards, but set 1 and set 3 could kind of see the promise and potential of this team. It is a young group.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a young group. Tara Mooney, 2005 born, a couple others also born in 2006, 2005. They've got probably a lot to work with right now. I mean, they've shown flashes of great performances from serve reception, namely from Calvin and Grace Allen. It's just about keeping that consistent performance, I think. As we've seen in this final set, when they're able to string those passes together, they are a great team with a well-constructed offense. You know, in this next game up against Ireland, I believe. Yeah, Ireland this afternoon. That'll be huge for them to see if they can try and keep those pieces together, keep those puzzle pieces to victory. And as for England, call it a trailer, call it foreshadowing, whatever it is this afternoon between Scotland, that will be a huge game.
Indeed, but I think the one person we have to mention, we talked about it enough, so it won't be a surprise to you to watch the whole game, but the defensive job that Megan McBurney did today for Northern Ireland.
Yeah, consistent throughout. I mean, it looked like a mirror image from my game yesterday. She's always sitting in the right positions in position 5, scrambling, covering the whole court, not afraid to put her body on the line, and just a huge defensive force on that team. I mean, one of the more experienced players as well, so definitely leading that serve reception unit.
And as for England, of course, the victors, not always comfortable. They got performances. Obviously, Van Essen came back in to close with experience, but Philip Edwards did a solid job at set end. But they got everyone involved, and they got contributions from a lot of different people. It wasn't always pretty, but for a young group, another big building block for them.
Yeah, I mean, as a former setter myself, it's always so cool to see how a team dynamic changes when you have a different setter. You've got one more, you could say, less experienced, but definitely more risk-taking setter in Philip Edwards. The moment she came on, she ran that fast-tempo offense down the middle so effectively. And then Molly Van Essen to come in and close the game with her experienced composure, leading that young core group. And obviously, they were successful in the end.
Yep, we will take a very quick break as we bring our game MVP up here. But reminder, come back this afternoon. We will start with the men's games, 3:50 for Northern Ireland, Ireland, and 4 o'clock England, Scotland. Then 2 hours after that, we'll have the women's games here at 5 Nations. But for now, we'll take a very quick break and rejoin you shortly as we bring to you our MVP interview. And welcome back to the National Volleyball Centre here in Kettering, joined by our game MVP. You seem to be making a bit of a habit of these, Jojo.
Well, I try my best.
Just talk about the grit and determination of that closing set. Down 5 set points, and to come back and win it 27-25.
Yeah, I think the team really just believed in each other, and we really wanted to push and play as clean a volleyball as we could at the end and just see how many points we could get out. So it was nice that we were able to win that set.
And obviously talk about Molly Van Essen coming back in to serve those pressure points. She obviously served well in set 1 and obviously was great yesterday as well.
Yeah, Molly is one of our more experienced players, and she's so clutch to have back in that position. Trusted her 100% to be the person to serve when the other team had set points, so she did amazing.
And talk about your comfortability, obviously playing with some different players. Obviously you've got a couple of connections, former Mallory players and people you play with, but how's this group just gelling together?
Yeah, honestly, all these girls are really lovely, and they really do love playing volleyball. So I think the ultimate goal is to perform the best we can. And so we're focusing on that, which is allowing us to build a bit of trust and a bit of a foundation with each other.
And now back-to-back games against Scotland, obviously to finish pool play today, but you're going to get them tomorrow in the gold medal match. Obviously you need to recover, but what do you expect from that Scotland series?
Yeah, a really good team across the board. They have some strong outsides. We're just excited to get in, play our game, assess their side, and perform as best as we can.
Well, I'm probably going to get told off for keeping you. You've got to probably cool down and get ready, but congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
And welcome back to our coverage of the Five Nations here at the National Volleyball Centre. While we've got a bit of a break, we've kind of flipped over and I've now got the performance manager of British Volleyball with me, Joanna Cook, to talk a little bit about what's happening on court right now. As you can see on your stream at home, we've got a giant sitting volleyball taster session.
We do, yeah. We've got some Great Britain athletes that are here. We've got Andrea, who's in the women's senior squad, and we've got Rob, the captain from the men's, and also Carl, who's a younger member that's come in just this year into the GB squad, so showing great progression in terms of where his sitting volleyball career is going.
I'm sure Woz is lurking somewhere knowing
Woz
that
is
as
down
well
there too.
somewhere.
I can see him in the background.
But yeah, let's just talk about sitting volleyball. Obviously, it's the third discipline of the sport, and obviously the growth it's kind of had. Obviously, we covered the cup final live here last year. We'll do the same come April, May time as well. But just talk about the kind of the recent progression and the plans.
Yeah, sitting volleyball's been a very prominent sport in the Paralympics for a while now, and in this country as well. We have some fairly stable clubs and a domestic system that's here. It's a great sport because anyone can play it. It can be mixed, it can be any age group. You can have a disability or an impairment, or you can play as an able-bodied athlete as well. So anyone come along and play. It's really easy to pick up, and it's got a really great kind of team camaraderie going on.
And you can kind of see that now. We've got young, old, all flying around, and obviously for some of these it'll definitely be their first taste of sitting volleyball, and obviously very similar rules, not a lot to learn. If you've got any type of volleyball background, it is fairly easy to pick up.
Yeah, really easy, and it's very simple to learn. So even if you haven't got a volleyball background, then some fairly simple things that you can get playing straight away.
And obviously it's kind of built off the legacy of 2012. You talked about, especially on the men's side, some of the players still around and obviously in domestic finals, but kind of what is the forward steps now to kind of progress? Obviously you had the European Championships a few months ago, and so how are we trying to move the sport forward?
Sure, so on a performance level, our Great Britain squads train and compete internationally every year with the ultimate aim to qualify for the Paralympics. Since 2012, we haven't done that, so it is about progressing through now into a really strong performance strand, and that's through playing European tournaments through Paravolley Europe, and also world tournaments through World Paravolley, and we enter them every year, European Champs, Nations League, World Cups, World Championships, with the aim to improve our ranking and to get into that qualification slot for the next next Paralympics.
And obviously, to do that, it needs the core base back in the UK. So obviously, we've got the 7 or 8 main clubs that are around, but talk about how people can get involved in it with those clubs, but also the other smaller clubs that are now starting to pop up.
Yeah, sure. So the club scene is growing. Obviously, we had struggles when COVID hit, but now they're really back up and running. You can get involved by looking at the Volleyball England website or through the British Volleyball website. You can find the clubs that are around. They're all very friendly, always welcoming new members. Also, a number of charities will also do showcases, festivals, bits and pieces across the country at various different times. It also helps just get that introduction of sitting volleyball around. A number of our athletes and our coaches will go and work with the likes of Limb Power, with Wheel Power, Power to Inspire, that will run these festivals across the year. So if you want a few one-hit wonders, then you can go to these festivals. If you want a more regular basis, if you get to love the sport once you've tried it, then the clubs are a great way to get that information and get that training started.
And obviously we've got the Sitting Grand Prix that takes place. The last round was a few weeks ago back here in Kettering, and just talk about the importance of that and kind of how that circuit just keeps on developing.
Yeah, the Grand Prix is a brilliant domestic system that's in England at the moment, and it means that the athletes can come and compete and have that competition that they all crave for when you start a sport. So it's a great system that's based across a number of weekends, culminating in finals and also a cup, which is now turning into an international cup as well. We've opened it up for other teams to come abroad, and it brings a competitive element to the sport, but in a very social and fun environment. As
we see more people literally just being plucked out the crowd. You stay for lunch, you're going to end up playing sitting volleyball here at the National Volleyball Centre in Kettering. And just before we let you go, Joanna, just talk about obviously the international tournaments and kind of the profile is starting to build. Obviously, the streams of the Sitting Grand Prix are happening now.
Yeah.
But obviously, we hosted last year in Nottingham for the first time in a long time. So how important is that to kind of grow the sport and just put more awareness on what is one of the most inclusive sports?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's the best awareness piece is when you can host events and you can see it. So the live stream works brilliantly in that people can access it from their home and they can see the sport. And then the hosting of events, we've done Nottingham, we've done it 2 years in a row now, where international teams have come over. It's worked brilliantly to kind of showcase the sport in this country, to show how fabulous it is, and the chance to meet our Great Britain athletes as well as many other international athletes. Many of the ones last year in 2024 went on to the Paralympic Games, so an incredible opportunity to see real world-class sport at its best.
And I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here. Have you got any plans for hosting this year? Any big events that people can look out for?
Not yet, but we are definitely planning for more, and we will certainly keep everyone posted as soon as we can just finalise all the information.
Well, I do know the one plan is we are going to bring you the Cup final again this year here as part of finals weekend for Sitting Volleyball. That will have its own exclusive stream, and we look forward to bringing you that one. I got the privilege to do that one last year with Woz actually, and we'll make sure that continues. But it's great to hear about the other strands of sport, and while I've got you, just talk about the impressive performance we had in December. I know it's been a kind of quick month, but the Bello brothers and their kind of breakthrough, and how impressive that's been.
Yeah, Bellows have had an incredible journey. It's been building over the last number of years now. They're 15th in the world, which is the most fantastic kind of end to that last year. So close to qualifying for Paris as well, which really was incredible. And we'll continue to fund them and support them as well as more up-and-coming beach athletes, and obviously with this event as an indoor kind of international event that we can host as well. So it's a really exciting time for volleyball in Great Britain. I think all the home nations are doing an incredible job in their own areas, and then we're adding on the elite side to it as well. And I think overall volleyball is in a brilliant place and is going to just continue to push forward for the next number of years to come.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, and great to shed a bit of light on the Sitting Volleyball. We'll leave the stream rolling a little bit so those of you watching at home can see, but that was all for now. And obviously rejoin us at about 3:45 as we get ready for the next round of games. England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Ireland will battle out in the men's and then the women's last games following that. But for now, here from the National Volleyball Centre, thank you, and rejoin us this afternoon.